It all began with a photograph, an unguarded moment frozen in time. The year was the 1960s, and Barbara Parkins sat between takes, lost in her thoughts, her gaze distant yet powerful. Decades later, that same candid image would resurface online, sparking curiosity among fans who wondered what lay behind those captivating, almost melancholic eyes. She had once been the embodiment of television sophistication, the dazzling star of Peyton Place, a woman admired by men and emulated by women everywhere. But beyond the flawless beauty and polished demeanor lived a woman quietly struggling with the weight of fame, its loneliness, and the silence that crept in when the spotlight dimmed. Hers was a tale, like many of Hollywood's forgotten icons, radiant, complicated, and deeply human. Barbara's journey began far from the glitz and glamour of Los Angeles. She was born in Vancouver, British Columbia, a city where ambition often met the cold bite of reality. As a young girl, she was shy but perceptive, always drawn to observing emotions, studying the way people moved, spoke, and hesitated. Before she ever stood in front of a camera, she had already become a student of human behavior. When her family relocated to California, it felt like fate nudging her forward. The sunlit streets and cinematic pulse of Los Angeles contrasted the quiet world she'd known, and something within her began to bloom. She enrolled in the Hollywood Professional School, a training ground for young dreamers balancing textbooks with rehearsals. Even then, she chased perfection with quiet determination. Her path to stardom was far from glamorous. She took small modeling gigs, posed for print ads, and accepted minor television parts, each one a stepping stone toward something bigger. Directors often called her too refined, a remark that was both compliment and obstacle, but that elegance became her trademark. Then came the turning point, Peyton Place. The TV drama took America by storm, and Barbara's portrayal of Betty Anderson transformed her into a household name. With her smoky voice, controlled expression, and haunting presence, she gave depth to a character that could have easily been forgotten. Viewers didn't just watch her, they felt her. She made the small screen shimmer with emotion, and suddenly Barbara Parkins was everywhere. But fame, as always, came with a cost. Overnight, Barbara became a media fascination. Every magazine dissected her love life. Every whisper turned into a headline. To the world, she was the glamorous brunette everyone wanted. Yet privately, she remained cautious, almost guarded. She kept her distance from the glitzy chaos, perhaps out of fear that real intimacy might disturb her carefully built balance. Men courted her, rumors swirled, but behind the stories stood a woman yearning for genuine connection. Hollywood adored her image but seldom saw her soul. After each dazzling appearance, she returned home to the quiet, a place filled not with applause but introspection. Her next chapter brought both triumph and turbulence. At the height of her fame, Barbara transitioned to film, landing a starring role in Valley of the Dolls. The movie was electric, a bold, provocative look at ambition, addiction, and loss, and Barbara's performance as Ann Wells captured something hauntingly authentic. Audiences adored it. Critics were cruel. But for Barbara, the film was more than fiction. Playing a woman consumed by fame felt eerily prophetic, almost too personal. She once confessed that the role mirrored truths she'd witnessed in Hollywood, talented friends broken by the very dreams they chased. The experience left her proud, but emotionally drained, a reminder that success often demands more than it gives. As the years rolled on, the tides of Hollywood began to shift. The industry's obsession with novelty left little room for actresses like Barbara, women whose talent carried nuance instead of noise. Roles grew scarce, but she refused to fade quietly. She found new purpose in European cinema, drawn to its artistry and sophistication. She even ventured into producing, eager to create her own opportunities. But this chapter came with new betrayals, partners who exploited her trust, and studios that never fulfilled their promises. It wasn't the kind of heartbreak that tabloids report, but it cut deep nonetheless. By the late 1970s, tired of the industry's hollow promises, Barbara chose peace over pursuit. Her decision to step away wasn't surrender, it was transformation. Away from the cameras, Barbara rediscovered her passion for the simple and sincere. She immersed herself in photography, capturing the same honesty she'd once searched for in acting. Friends described her as kind, grounded, and deeply empathetic, especially toward animals and those forgotten by fame. Rumors of a memoir surfaced, but Barbara stayed quiet, choosing to let her art and past performances tell her story. Through her lens, she sought what Hollywood had often denied her: truth. As time went on, Barbara became an enigma, a figure remembered fondly but rarely seen. She aged gracefully, never chasing youth, embracing time with the same poise that had once defined her career. Those who met her later in life spoke of her warmth and tranquility, her calm acceptance of the past. She carried within her the essence of an era long gone, one of class, artistry, and silent endurance. Perhaps that was her greatest role of all, the guardian of a fading Hollywood grace. Look at her photos today, the unposed, intimate ones, and you'll see it. In her gaze, there's wisdom, sorrow, and peace. You can sense a woman who lived deeply, who knew love, loss, and the price of beauty. Her story isn't one of tragedy but of survival, of finding authenticity in a world built on illusion. She stood beside legends, shined in her own light, and left behind a quiet but lasting brilliance. In every frame she reminds us of a time when performance was poetry and emotion was real. And so we return to where it all began, that haunting photograph. Barbara Parkins, caught in a fleeting moment, looking past the lens as if toward something only she could see. Maybe it was the past calling. Maybe it was freedom. Whatever it was, her eyes tell the truth that time can't erase. Beauty fades, fame flickers, but authenticity endures. If you've ever admired her grace or been touched by her performances, take a moment to celebrate her legacy. Don't forget to like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more stories of stars who lit up the screen and continued to shine long after the curtain fell.